The McMahons are back, Corbin is out, and Dean Ambrose and Ronda Rousey issue an open challenge. All that and more on Raw Aftershow on AfterbuzzTV.
You're tuned in to AfterbuzzTV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I like more than checks. Money. All I really want to see is the money. I don't really need a D, I need the money. All a bad need is the
No.
I got
What do you think of Cardi and Offset? You think they're going to get back together?
touch me.
I don't know. Could be anything. Could be meat. Could be cake. We don't know.
What's up, guys? This is Raw After Shows on AfterbuzzTV. My name is TK Trinidad, and we have Hobo in the building.
What up, folks?
He's going for Offset, I think. Do you even know who Offset is?
That's a transformer, right?
All right.
He turns into a fire engine? No, that can't be it.
All right, so we're going to be talking about Raw. So what do you think of what do you think of the show overall today?
It started a little bit rocky for my taste, you know, kind of, there was preaching, you know, this is it, big changes, big things are changing, and felt like kind of the same old show,
right?
But the further on with the show we got, the more it felt like, okay, all right, we're starting to see some changes.
Right.
I mean, they're hammering it home on commentary. They're going, oh, things are changing, everything's changing. You know, no more automatic rematches for title switches, which I was happy with that.
Yeah, I was fine with that too.
I don't see a problem with that personally.
Yeah.
But still, that's gone now.
Yeah.
They're saying new faces. You want new people? We'll give you new people. They don't think anybody really wanted new people.
No.
They just wanted the people who were there to be used in a different way. But regardless, I think the set of talent that they have chosen to come to Raw's main roster is probably the cream of the crop.
Right.
I really like what we're seeing. I don't know if it's necessarily to Raw's main roster.
Yeah.
Because Lars Sullivan, you've seen packages on both Raw and SmackDown. Nikki Cross has been almost exclusively SmackDown.
Right.
With her faction of fellow freaks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is going to be spread out between both brands or if this is exclusive to Raw.
Yeah.
I suppose time will have to tell, but overall I definitely like the way the show finished. I like wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm a wrestling fan. So I was happy to see it in abundance tonight.
Yeah.
In total, only 5 matches on the show. But the time that was given to these matches was just innumerable. They went multiple segments and then a gauntlet match to finish out the show.
A women's gauntlet match.
Absolutely. That's not been done for quite a while. And it's most certainly not been given the amount of time that this was given. This was given, I'd got to say, 40 minutes. I'm sure that the actual count is up somewhere. If you're in chat, you can definitely throw that at us. But this hasn't been done. It felt nice. This felt a little bit different, a little bit new.
Yeah, it felt like the McMahons came out and they were going to, change everything, but they pretty much gave us the stuff that we didn't want, because I think the biggest thing on the blogs and people have been complaining about is more the storylines and not seeing certain wrestlers more than others and stuff like that. The roster has just gotten too big, so it seems like they didn't address any of that, and they gave us more people on the roster, which I'm afraid of, like somebody like a Nikki Cross who's doing amazing on NXT, amazing storyline, all this stuff, and then I feel like she comes up there and her character is gonna get buried, like Ember Moon. So it's just kind of one of those things where I'm happy that they're going to the main roster, but are we going to see them?
A lot of people are saying, especially in the Discord chat that I'm a part of.
Wait, where is this Discord? People join this Discord
absolutely.
chat?
Absolutely. We've set up a chat, and I'll address this more at the end of the show, but for the Wrestling Professionals podcast, we've set up a Discord channel. It's a permanent chat room for fans who are fans of us, fans of the show. And it's sort of an ongoing conversation about wrestling in general. And tonight we covered Raw. And they felt that it was really kind of more of the same again. They weren't necessarily fans of the changes, especially the changes that they saw coming. I don't think it's a good... People don't like predictability.
Yeah.
So when you sort of give them things that they predict or things that they've seen before, it's a turnoff, especially in wrestling.
Yeah.
So to start the show, we had a long talking segment, much like we've had in many other previous weeks, that went had a commercial break in the middle of it, and then went an entire other segment of television time dedicated to figuring out this Corbin problem, to which they have almost the same match that they had last night, and just really using Corbin as the figure for everything wrong with Raw right now, using him as the literal scapegoat, and doing what you do with a scapegoat, slaughtering that sumbitch. They slaughtered him. Cut off his head, hit him with chairs, put him through tables. They ended him.
Are you excited or are you upset? I can't tell.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
Well, yeah, I feel like because before he was the acting general manager, he wasn't doing much. And I love the fact that he was able to do something. But now, it makes sense. Like, he can't be in that role for a long period of time because it just doesn't make sense.
Or you have him just go nuts.
Right.
Absolutely power mad. Give him a belt. Have him just be the Mad King.
Right.
But he just didn't go far enough, fast enough. They were wishy-washy. I don't think they necessarily knew where to go with the angle thing. And I think they had an idea, but then they had to change direction, especially with the tournament that they had, the Best of the World tournament. That really changed. I'm almost certain it had to be Kurt Angle that won that. And then somehow it ended up being Shane McMahon.
All right, well, speaking of Baron Corbin, so he comes out and he says he deserves, a match or to prove himself that he should become manager, and they decided to do no disqualification. Kurt Angle, Apollo Crews, and Chad Gable and Bobby Roode show up pretty much like you said.
They just kept adding stipulations. At first, it was a one-on-one between Corbin and Angle, and that was good. I was behind that. Then they made it a handicap match, adding the tag team champions and Apollo Crews. Then it was a no disqualification, and everybody just beat the hell out of him.
Which is just kind of like, at one point, Stephanie was for him, and then she just felt like he wasn't doing the job, or
I don't know.
Yeah,
if they addressed that, if she would have been his only advocate out of the four McMahons that were present, the four heads of the company, it would have felt truer to the feeling of the story.
Yeah. Or we saw them backstage, and she was trying to advocate for him, and they were like,
no, he's doing a good job. No, he's not.
Yeah,
and that would be it.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes they miss those like little. They don't have to do those long talking segments or like a huge backstage thing, but like even like 2 or 3 sentences, pushing the story forward versus what's going on.
Right.
It's kind of one of those things.
Just neglecting something that ever happened. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
We're going the other direction.
Which has happened over the last maybe 6 to 8 months, where it's just like a lot of things have been happening. It's like, this didn't happen at all.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
Right. Didn't happen.
So is that Men in Black where they click the thing?
Yeah.
That's what they're hoping.
The flashy thingy.
The flashy thingy.
Their flashy thing, yes. And their flashy thing does not work.
Their flashy
thing
doesn't work.
It's not working anymore. They whip it out. We're taking a long look at it, and it's just not doing it anymore. Yeah.
I feel like that could be applied in so many other ways.
Really?
And Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler, they have a match. What do you think of this match?
Felt good. Yeah, these two guys are really well meshed with each other, similar size. I wouldn't say necessarily similar wrestling ability. What they bring to the table is very different, but their ability to be fluid, their ability to really work the mat, again, it's very good. They're similar and different simultaneously, so this to me felt really good. I enjoyed this a lot.
And then Drew McIntyre entered the picture. Now, that's another thing. We don't know exactly what happened between Drew and Dolph. Dolph is apparently just trying to separate himself from Drew, but we don't really know why.
But then last night at TLC, Balor and McIntyre had their match, and during that match, Dolph Ziggler came out and it kicked Finn Balor. Or no, it kicked McIntyre, and then backstage, then he hit Finn Balor. So I don't know what he's doing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna answer my question. I'm like, okay, maybe I missed something at TLC.
The only thing you missed was the fact that this match, the setup happened for this match at TLC.
Okay, gotcha.
But sort of the reasoning behind it is, I don't know, man. Wrestling.
Noah is asking if you guys can call into the show. Unfortunately not, but if you keep the comments like I just did, Noah, I'm reading them and also hosting, so you know.
You don't have to call in. You can just
type away. Type away.
You them fingers.
So that match ends up in a disqualification because of Drew McIntyre, which leads us to Dean Ambrose. So he comes out.
But what do you think this Ziggler, Balor, McIntyre thing is going to head into a three-way? Because by the end of it, McIntyre was just laying out both parties, Claymore kicks to the head for Ziggler and Balor. Do you think we're going to see a three-way?
I mean, a three-way match, wrestling-wise, would be great.
Yeah.
A three-way wise storyline, as far as figuring it out. Storyline, you guys, drinking game. As far as figuring it out is my frustration. Like, why? So, like I think we were talking about this before the show started. It's like, if they're adding these people to the roster, there's a lot of people on the roster now that we're not seeing. So are they kind of, nixing the storylines or making them very short where we're going to see more wrestling and less storylines, which is, I'm fine with if we're just seeing wrestling more often, and there's no storyline. They're just going against each other.
You can add singular promos that aren't backstage vignettes when they're walking down to the ring.
Yeah.
That was something that really became useful in the beginning of the Attitude Era to sort of give matches just more of a feel.
Yeah.
Give you an understanding of why this is happening or how two competitors feel about each other, more than just, they're punching each other in the face pretty hard. I guess they don't
and
like
even
each
almost
other.
like a ranking where you're seeing where, these superstars are, lined up. So you see that this person's below this person,
I think
and they're
they
next
used
up.
to do that. I don't know if they still do it.
I don't, not that I know, but chat, let me know. But even that, you don't really need anybody backstage to say much, right? So then you see that ranking, you're like, okay, well, this person's up for this belt. And you can kind of make that understanding that you're going to do a shorter storyline. So I think wrestling-wise, I think it'll look great. Especially, I would want Drew McIntyre to win, but I wouldn't. But as far as the underdog thing, I wouldn't want him to win. I would want almost like Finn Balor to overcome the both of them to be successful.
No, I agree. I think really the either winner should be Finn Balor or Drew McIntyre. Dolph Ziggler doesn't really enter into it. Mm-hmm. He's an addition that sort of adds color, but really you don't imagine him winning.
Right.
Because what would the end game be? You could see either McIntyre or Balor going on to challenge for the Universal title.
And how long is Ziggler's contract? Was it 5 years that he signed it for?
Know.
That crazy amount?
I forget.
So we have Dean Ambrose coming in pretty swanky with the jacket, no shirt on, the gold necklace.
Yeah.
Apparently you told me that it feels good on your nipples.
The fleece lining of the jacket.
On the nipples, apparently.
It does. Yeah. You ever hug a sheep shirtless?
No.
I recommend it. Yeah. Highly. Yeah. Go for it.
So he issues an open challenge, and essentially he's calling out Seth, but Seth is nowhere to be found at that moment. Tyler Breeze comes out. We haven't seen him in a long time.
And the last time we saw him was on, well, technically NXT, because he was on the NXT episode that aired last week. Wrestled Ricochet for the North American Championship. But even before that, he was SmackDown brand. He wasn't Raw.
And they didn't even mention that there's a...
Not that I'm aware, so welcome, Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, they didn't even do, because you know how they're doing a lead up for Lars? Like they did that a couple weeks ago, and now they did the 6 people. By the way, here's Tyler.
I mean, I think he's fallen into the category of a good hand.
Oh.
He's you put him in any situation, and he's good. But he's not necessarily the person that they're trying to push to the forefront of anything.
Right.
But seeing him in a one-on-one match is a huge change. Mm-hmm. They really weren't doing anything at all with him. And now that he's wrestled for a Intercontinental Championship, in a Intercontinental Championship match on Raw, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, but... Yeah, okay. Well, he shows up and
Big changes, TK. Big changes.
Dean Ambrose did issue an open challenge, so therefore anybody can show up.
Well,
So
he issued a challenge to Seth Rollins, who no-showed.
Right.
And then an open challenge to anybody else who happened to be in the back. And Tyler Breeze might have been taking pictures for .com at the time and could have been relatively close to Gorilla. Like, there's a what? I'm on my way.
I know, so many options. Whereas the women, they were all happened to be there. So he defeats Tyler Breeze, calls out Seth Rollins again. His music hits, and lo and behold, Seth Rollins was there that whole time.
Oh no! He was a guard no one could have ever predicted.
So this is actually, it kind of makes sense as far as, they're brothers, they're no longer brothers, they're calling each other out, now he's the champion. So, I'm sensing this is going to be a back and forth for a little bit.
I hope not.
Uh-oh.
I'm after last night, there was nothing wrong with their TLC match. Nothing outright wrong with it. Let me put it that way. But it seemed pretty tone deaf for the show.
Okay.
The fans were not into it. They just did not. They weren't into it really at all. There's something missing from this. And I think the only remedy is to get Ambrose and Rollins the hell away from each other. It's not working. For some reason, it worked better when Rollins was the heel and Ambrose was the babyface. That worked. But somehow in this reverse role, it's not working because I don't think the audience is into the reasoning.
Right.
I think they're just...
They just don't understand.
Or they're too upset by the premise being Roman Reigns has leukemia. That is not it's a start,
right?
But I don't think it's something that people can forget so easily. And I think it just makes them uncomfortable because it hits a little too close to home.
The fact that, Dean Ambrose said, that Roman Reigns is paying for his sins because of
I think it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, on the reverse side, you have Natty Neidhart and Ruby Riott wrestling over her dad's memory, but there's something sort of final about that.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit more okay.
Yeah, and he lived his best life, and
Absolutely.
we knew that. I think it was either dementia. So we knew that he was suffering. So it's a
right. And
thing of life.
he lived a long life, and on the other side of this, we have a man who's very sick, who might have a shortened life.
Yeah.
And I think people are just uncomfortable with this. They just don't want it.
Yeah. Speaking of life, happy birthday to Ghost in the chat.
Happy birthday!
You've been in the chat for a long time, so just I see that. So happy birthday, by the way. So you're hoping that there's not going to be a continuation.
I'm probably wrong.
Yeah.
Probably pretty wrong. But I don't want it. And the crowd in California didn't want it either.
Yeah. So that moves on to Bobby Lashley, and he is in the ring with the broken guitar. His hype man, Leo Rush, is there as well. How do you think the two are doing as far as... I like Leo's addition, but it feels like they're just stagnant with Elias. Like, do you think that they're going to move to something else, or do you think that they're going to fall back down?
So the problem with this, the way I see it, is neither of them has anything to gain from this relationship.
Exactly.
If one beats the other, it doesn't matter. Nothing is gained.
Right.
I think there has to be an explanation as to why this matters beyond...
We don't.
I don't know. He's hogging my spotlight, or something like that, or even just say that in so many words. I think they're being really wishy-washy with this.
And the bending over thing, I'm all for glutes, but it's kind of weird. Like a grown, very muscular man bending over and showing his butt. I'm not about that life, and y'all know I like Bobby Lashley, but that's just kind of weird.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just like if there was a woman doing the same thing, it would be perceived in one way, but a man doing the exact same thing makes you really uncomfortable. And for that reaction, I'm like, yeah,
no,
oh yeah, keep
if it
doing
were
that.
like somebody not as muscular, like I'm thinking of maybe a Rhino or somebody that's not as muscular and they can play into that, then yes. But Bobby Lashley just seems like he would never do that anyway.
Why you got a body shame, TK?
I'm not
Why you got a body shame, Bobby Lashley?
I'm not body shame. I think his body is amazing. I'm just,
You just what? You don't like that?
I just him bending over and tapping his booty cheeks just seems like if he were like he was in the TK's boudoir, but because he does that, he's
out.
He's not going to be in the TK's boudoir.
Oh, come on, he wants it. Look at him.
No.
Look at him.
Speaking of TK's boudoir, I'm going to let you know who is in TK's boudoir this week. Let's cue that music.
Oh yeah. TK's boudoir. Oh yeah. TK's boudoir. TK's boudoir. TK's boudoir.
So you're not for Cardi, but you're here for TK's boudoir.
Yep.
Okay.
That's easy.
I think somebody tweeted me, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but it was right after we did Raw, and he's like, I can't get the song out of my head. I was singing it at work, so I appreciate it. Shout out to Evan and the person in England who created the song, and here we are. So TK's boudoir goes to a few people because, it is holiday season, gift of giving. Kudos to Apollo Crews' new gear. He looks amazing.
What's different about it? I didn't actually take a look because he didn't have a match necessarily.
Right.
There was so much movement.
And the beard, I know he's had the beard for a while,
Sure,
but it was red gear. It's just something different. I'm hoping they're going to do something with him, but it is what it is. Tyler Breeze making an appearance and his outfit as per usual, different colors. I'm game for that.
All the furs.
Yes,
so many furs.
So many furs. And then of course Dean Ambrose with the jacket and
the chain,
the jeans. I like that vibe. And then all of the women in the gauntlet looked amazing. Their hair was on point, especially Alicia Fox. Her hair was key, and then Sasha Banks changed the color of her hair. So kudos to all those people. But Bobby Lashley, that butt thing is not working.
I don't know. It makes people uncomfortable. I like it.
You like the butt thing?
I don't like. Careful. I don't like the butt thing. I like what the butt thing does to people.
I don't think
it makes people uncomfortable.
It's not making me uncomfortable. It's just weird.
I don't think you're alone. Well, weird is also another defining way of putting something. This makes me uncomfortable. It's weird. It's different. I don't understand it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're alone. I think there's a large segment of the audience that goes, I don't like that. That's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it.
Okay, well.
Yeah. I like things that are weird.
Rocky Bronx says boudoir banishment. Yeah, I like that.
Banished. Permanently?
Banished.
Oh, no.
No.
It doesn't even jiggle though. You gotta.
Most muscle butts don't jiggle.
Rock hard.
Yeah, bet
you could crack a walnut with that thing.
Probably. Yeah. Okay. So we have the Revival. They go up against the Lucha House Party, AOP, and the B Team. So they're going to try to earn the Raw Tag Team Championship match against Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. So what did you think of this match? I think the Revival, we haven't seen them in a minute either. And they're good contenders, but it's just like they're just the fillers. Like, we need a tag team.
They're essentially the definition of what they're talking about when they talk about misused talent. Mm-hmm. And even Seth Rollins brought it up last week as a real point to make. The Revival are the best tag team, technically, in the WWE. Mm-hmm. You can't argue it. No one will say any different. They are absolutely the top. And yet they put in solid performances in, out, every week. But they do not get the opportunities that a lot of other people do. So they are absolutely the top of what you could say is a mismanaged talent.
Is it because it could be a couple things? One, I haven't seen them on the show enough, so I don't know what their personalities are. And if you can't connect with
roughnecks.
Yeah, but I feel like you can't. If you can't connect with a personality, then you can't invest Like, you can't root for them to win. Like, the B team, like, you saw their progressions. Like, okay, Miz left, here they are, they're trying to formulate, they came up with the idea, they came up with a new song, they did this, they did that. And when they won it, even though it was in a joking type way, you can get behind them because essentially they were the B team or are the B team.
Yeah.
So with Revival, it's just like, again, if we go to more of a wrestling based off of skills, and then this is where they are in the hierarchy, then I think that's when they would have the chance of being champions. But it also feels like there's a popularity, favoritism, seeing how the crowd likes or dislikes a certain group of individuals. And with the Revival, it just seems like, yeah or nay, we don't really...
But there's a disconnect. They're not given a whole lot of mic time. It's not because they're not good on the mic. They're actually really good on the mic.
Okay.
So that's not why. But because they're essentially heels, they operate as heels. They're bad guys, but they are so technically sound, the audience has no choice but to respect them.
Right.
So without the mic time to point them in the direction of a heel, people are like, yeah, these guys are cool. Look at them. They're so technically sound. Look at them. So it's slowly they turn to baby faces.
Okay.
Without the ability to say, we don't like you, they turn into baby faces. Man, honestly, at this point, just make them baby faces. Just make them roughneck baby faces. Like, they don't have to be good guys. Just don't be a bad guy. Don't boo the audience, you know? That's all you don't have to do. Just be technical and do your jobs, and people will cheer.
Yeah. But the thing is, why not give them the mic?
I don't know, man.
Because if Bobby Roode and Chad now have the titles, then you should have tag teams vying to, get there. And on top of, what we had today, they also should talk and say why they deserve it. So then you establish their characters, then you get behind them or not behind them, and there's emotion involved.
Holy crap. You've been paying attention. Yeah. You're 100% right. I don't know why.
Oh, well,
maybe
McMahon's are in charge now, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, you know why, but you can't say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I like knowing.
There's nothing wrong with any particular team.
Right.
It's just how they're handling talent. That's it. Mm-hmm. So if they're a little bit looser with how they handle the talent, it'll allow for more expression, and it will allow for arguably more emotional content. Mm-hmm. So if they're able to do that, I honestly think it's going to be better for them.
Right. But you already said that they're good on the mic, so the thing is...
Good on the mic and good at following a script aren't the same thing necessarily.
Okay.
Unscripted, they're friggin' great. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say.
Well, maybe they will get their chance because they do beat Lucha House Party, which I'm still not understanding. Like, I'm understanding. No, I'm not understanding. I don't understand where they came from. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, all right.
I like the fact that they're bringing a different element, but it's just kind of like.
They're a tag team. They're fun. They wear masks. They're from 205 Live. They're not bad in the ring.
Right.
So, honestly, they're a solid addition to
the tag team roster. But it's just kind of like... And then, wait, is No Way Jose on SmackDown or Raw?
Raw. Where he at? I don't know, TK. I don't know.
All right. So, Ronda Rousey, she comes out. She's kind of confusing. So she did her, her whole pitch. She started off angry, then she kind of went into, I love you guys, and then angry again. I kind of feel like if you are going to be that person where you are saying that you dominate all, then commit to that the whole way. And don't care what everybody thinks, even when they're cheering her, or even when they were doing the whole Becky thing, which was great. She kind of played that off, or she used that to her benefit. But it's just like, if she were to watch it back, I hope she sees the ebbs and flows, because it's just like, okay, she's this champion, this badass champion, and then she's now playing to the crowd. Then she's a badass champion again, and now she's playing to the crowd. Her
emotions sort of transition very sharply. Mm-hmm. And I see what you're saying. And that's just a comfort thing. in the ring.
Right.
She's not 100% used to being in front of crowds in that way where she wants them to feel a particular way. It's a different thing when you're just speaking and you don't really care what anybody thinks or feels. But when you get out there and you're handed a microphone, you really want people to feel a certain way. So you try and give them an emotion to follow, but again, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's really difficult.
It's not, however, I don't know if you saw Eric Bischoff did a TED Talk. Did you see that?
I saw that he did it. I have not yet watched it.
I finally got to watch it, and it's really interesting how he pretty much sums up, our political climate and how they're pretty much stealing all the moves from WWE and wrestling. And when you think about it like that, I kind of wish that she would watch it, because then I think she can use that and then go for it. Because I think when she tries to be like that badass champion, she's trying to go 110 that way, and therefore it's going to dip down because that's not her naturally. Like when I met her, she just seemed like just a cool chick, very mild mannered, very keep to herself. She's not that, boisterous, I'm the best. So, and even when she did that in the UFC, she didn't have to do it for how long did she talk? Maybe 3 to 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
If that.
Yeah. So she didn't have to do that in the UFC. So I feel like if she kind of comes down to 60 and still emotes like I'm the best,
right,
and you guys can't topple me, then that consistency would make sense. But if you guys haven't seen the TED Talk, Eric Bischoff is really good, so you definitely should check that out. So she essentially issues an open challenge. All the women, not the men, which is weird, are clamoring to get there, which I didn't really like that part. It just seemed very sexist.
Yeah, I don't.
Sexist is not the word. It just seemed very stereotypical. Like,
really?
The women are clucking to try to get this position. When Dean Ambrose issued a challenge, we didn't see like the men, unless that has happened before, where you see a bunch of men essentially attacking and saying they want. That
does happen fairly regularly.
Okay.
Somebody will be talking. It's usually an opening to Raw. Somebody is talking.
Right.
The champion. One guy comes out, then another guy comes out, another guy comes out.
Yeah, but then they come out and they speak, and it's like one after the other. Just all of them at one just seems very like stereotypical. But I might have missed it somewhere else.
That came off in a different way for me. They actually, in that moment, seemed to me like they were more willing to try and grasp the proverbial brass ring than the men. They're making the men look complacent. They look hungry.
Okay.
They want a chance. They want an opportunity at all costs to get in there with the champion and to prove themselves, whereas the men are complacent. That's how it comes off to me.
Okay.
That's just my.
I do like that. I just wish they might have done it just a tiny bit different.
That's how it plays out. It's like all of them were watching. They were waiting for Ronda to get out there, and they all had the same idea. They're all going to go and challenge.
Right. So they all tried to go and challenge. Stephanie McMahon comes out. She brings them all out, and she's like, you know what? We're going to do a gauntlet match. Which the frustrating thing is for me is that we all know that Ronda. I mean, at least she's there. Better than Brock Lesnar, but it's like Ronda doesn't do the week to week, wrestling. It's just and that's the frustrating part. The ending product came out well, where we have the gauntlet match, and it was an amazing matches. But the frustrating part is like we knew that she's not gonna. We knew she was gonna win yesterday, and we knew that she wasn't gonna wrestle today. And the probability of her losing next week is very slim. But you never know. It's a new thing.
I don't know anyone else who could put a bigger challenge in front of Ronda Rousey than Nia Jax. And she beat Nia Jax, I don't want to say with ease, but really.
And then where was Nia?
With not much effort.
Is she injured? Is she okay? Like, how did she do until say that she didn't show up today?
The best I could possibly explain it is she lost after saying so confidently how she was going to win.
Right. That she's embarrassed?
Her confidence is broken, yeah.
Oh.
She's embarrassed.
Okay.
Because she got thumped. I mean, she did her damnedest, but Ronda.
How long did the match last?
I'm not sure.
Less than 10?
Maybe 10, maybe less.
Okay.
but not more than 10.
Okay.
And yeah, she was just able to, with her skills, she was able to take Nia down pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And to neutralize size like that, which is Nia's greatest asset, just totally deflates her as a viable opponent.
Yeah, and then
Just-
also too, we don't know what happened to Alexa Bliss. Like the fact that Baron Corbin is gone and he made Alexa kind of in charge of the women.
Yeah, Alexa
What's
just
happening
got
with her?
cleared to wrestle again.
Okay, so she might show up next week.
Yeah, technically she should have showed up this week, but maybe they're waiting. I don't know.
So the gauntlet match starts off with Alicia Fox and versus Bailey. Really great. I think Alicia kind of showed out a little bit more than in recent weeks.
I think she tried. I think she was given the opportunity to because they gave her more time. But again, the longer she's out there, in my opinion, the more she exposed that she's not quite as good as everybody else. Her strikes lacked snap, and she didn't seem to be as in control as she should have with someone who has the experience that she has.
Right. Well, the lack of experience thereof, maybe. She loses to Bailey. Then Bailey goes up against Dana Brooke. Another person that we kind of see a little bit more, but we don't. I have no idea what they're doing with her. But again, if there's less storylines, drinking game. If there's less storylines, then it doesn't really matter.
Right. I mean, with wrestling matches in themselves are storylines. So you don't necessarily have to write in everything that's going on.
Oh yeah, and the knee thing that Bailey did versus
Bailey,
Alicia Fox.
At the end of the match, toward the end of the match, Bailey hit an up and over and tweaked her knee and then got booted in the face. But Foxy, not using her acumen the way she should have, put herself in a pitting position that allowed for her to get rolled backwards onto her shoulders.
Right.
Dana Brooke sees this, comes out, and immediately, like a pit bull, goes right after that knee.
Yeah.
And for the majority of the match, has Bailey on the ropes, just laying into that knee.
And that's what I do like when the wrestlers have enough time to tell a story without an additional storyline. I guess the storyline was to see who's going to get to Ronda, and they're going against each other, and you can kind of see that. So that I definitely agree with. But still, don't know what's happening with Dana. Obviously.
Well, I mean, the point was to make Dana look like she really wanted to make the most of the opportunity. She did. She was very aggressive. But then Bailey is so strong that she hit that snap belly to belly out of nowhere, and that was the end of it.
Here's the thing. Seeing Dana come out, did you think at any time Dana would have won?
No, I don't personally.
Yeah.
But
I think the majority of people don't.
right.
And and I understand that some things are going to be predictable because if you watch Raw, wrestling, WWE long enough, you're going to know, who's at the top of the pecking order, who's not. But, sometimes you just want to be surprised. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I think the way this whole thing ended was kind of surprising. Toward the end, we were going, well, this person... Honestly, of all of them that entered into this gauntlet match, the two I did not see winning, potentially, Alicia Fox and Dana Brooke. Those are the two. The rest of them, I truly could have seen them win this.
Right. Until... well, we'll get to that. So Bailey defeats Dana. Then Bailey goes up against Mickie James. Great match. I was impressed, but Mickie James is a veteran.
Right. And she's a veteran, and she really moves like a veteran. She's very intelligent with the way she moves in that ring, and again, capitalized on the work that Dana Brooke had done and that Alicia Fox had done, and capitalized on that knee. And it was still a factor in this match. There was a certain point where Bailey was trying to transition into the ring and tried to spring off the ropes, and she just crumbled and just had grabbed that knee. There was just no way to come back
Pretty
from
much
that.
gave
But
out.
then she ended up being able to give Mickey a back elbow, hop up, and give her a cross body, but she just absolutely crumbled in that moment.
Well, yep, it didn't work too well for her because Mickie James defeats Bayley, and then Mickie James goes up against Ember Moon. I like that they're giving Ember Moon a lot of time, and you're seeing her almost week to week.
Yeah. That's the one thing you can say is she doesn't have a concurrent storyline, but she's always
seeing her.
there, and that's the best thing for somebody.
Yeah.
Just have time.
So are you thinking that the fact that she's always there, eventually something is going to come out of that, like organically, or they just feel like she's always there, she's in a good position, she's a good wrestler, therefore she can fill in that,
I say yes to both. Honestly, they could make something for her, or if something organic happens that they can capitalize on, they may do that. But the fact that they trust her to be somebody who's there every week, it's a good thing.
Yep. So Ember Moon ends up defeating Mickie James, and then she goes up against Natalya. And at one point, I believe Ember Moon and Natalya were like in tag teams, not tag teams, but they were partners at one point.
They
I
might
think
have
so.
been. Yeah.
Not to say
It's not running currently.
So they go up against each other. This is when I started seeing they might be playing Natalya into the whole Ronda Rousey thing because they were good friends, and now you're kind of getting invested in it. But then I saw that they're going to have this match next week. But there's still something that might be able to carry over to 2019 that will give Ronda something to sustain with that belt, because she's pretty much gone through the whole locker room in some way, shape, or form.
Pretty
much. So Natalya beats Ember Moon. She goes up against Ruby Riott. Something pretty much from yesterday.
Right. It was a repeat, but kind of in a good way, because it wasn't exactly the same, but the stakes were still there.
Yeah.
The wounds are still fresh, so you can kind of capitalize on what happened yesterday. That was a hard-fought tables match, both emotional and hard-fought, and it was good to see them kind of using that, not necessarily using it toward anything, but using it to sort of enhance a moment that's existing currently.
And Ruby Riott seems like, even though hasn't had the opportunity, I believe, she seems like it's only a matter of time that she'll get the belt.
Yeah. No, she is truly the leader of her pack, and she has a wealth of experience in the wrestling business that I think is almost more valuable than anything right now. So while
she can talk, and she has the look.
While she's helping grow the two other individuals in the Riot Squad, she herself is just cementing her position as a true leader and somebody who is going to carry the women's division of the future.
And then also makes the her role believable. Like, how sometimes you see some wrestlers and they either just keep losing or winning, and there's kind of nothing going on. It's like the chances that she does have, she tells that story with the whole faction, and it kind of makes sense, and you're invested in it, because then at a point you're like, well, I want to see what she would do with the belt.
Yeah.
So, but that's not going to happen, because Natalya defeats Ruby Riott, and then she goes up against Sasha Banks, which is a great match. And then, even though I thought Natalya was going to win, I was kind of hoping that Sasha would win, because I don't think Sasha has gone up against Ronda Rousey.
No, she hasn't, to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And it would be different. I'd say it would have to really bring out a scrappier Sasha Banks, because I think Ronda actually has a size advantage, and having a size advantage with a judo background, Sasha Banks would just get tossed. So she'd have to fight a really smart fight.
Right. Well, it's kind of when she was scrappy with Bayley's a hugger, so I guess you can be scrappy with huggers.
Yeah.
So essentially, Natalya beats Sasha Banks, and that leads us with Natalya and Ronda Rousey next week.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Oh boy.
Which I think was a good thing for the WWE to do, because for wrestling fans, you kind of want to see this, and then you will tune in on Christmas Eve, because I think if anything else happened, you might not have. You'd be like, I'll catch it on Twitter. Or you wouldn't be as invested.
And as you said, Ronda Rousey doesn't wrestle on Raw very often, so the fact that she is a draw. You're automatically going to draw eyeballs, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So, any predictions for next week?
Really don't have many predictions.
Are you going to watch next week?
No. I'm going to be eating, dinner.
Oh,
So,
wearing sheepskins with no
yeah.
shirts
Yeah, absolutely.
and hugging sheep.
Yes, hugging sheep.
All right.
It's a Christmas tradition. Before we go, can we talk over the NXT call-ups that they announced?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. So we've got from NXT, we have Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, EC3, Heavy Machinery, who is Tucker Knight, Notice Vic, and Nikki Cross.
Lacey Evans, I like, but I also dislike, because I feel like, and I know you cover it in detail, but
Yeah.
I dislike because I feel like she could still do a little bit more in NXT. Or am I incorrect?
No. You are right. There's sort of been. She hasn't gone as far as many think that she could, but then there's the frame of mind that she doesn't necessarily fit with the current NXT women's environment. She doesn't come from a wrestling background, and as such, she's a product of the WWE Performance Center, which makes her better attuned to TV than to be on NXT TV. So moving her up to the main roster is probably going to give her more opportunities to in better feuds than in NXT currently.
If she keeps the same character and she's allowed a little bit of time, like what she was doing in the NXT as far as like cleaning out the locker room and bringing, more womanly whatever,
Right, yes.
then, and tries to bring it to the Raw locker room or whichever locker room, then I could kind of see how that would work. It's just seeing it, they're actually going to give her.
She's very different, and I think doing anything else other than what she's doing right now would make her just another woman in the division. But keeping her pin-up roots and the fact that she is a former Marine, mother, and that really hammers home that she's something different and something to be feared, because she's very powerful.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. And then Nikki Cross is coming up as well.
Yeah, but she's been up, so that's kind of confusing for a lot of people. It's like announcing somebody who's already here.
Yeah.
And Nikki Cross is coming. Hi, everybody. Look, she's right there. We see her. She's not coming. She's here. She's here.
Well, I mean, she showed up for, she went up against Becky, and then she disappeared again. She was back on NXT.
Right.
So there was no official.
Right. It was kind of weird how they handled it. It was official and not official, because then she had a match at NXT TakeOver, which was good, but still, that might have been her last match, depending upon the set of tapings. We don't know.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about really big prospects, Heavy Machinery, probably one of the biggest tag teams, physically speaking, to come up in quite a long time. I think they've got several pounds on the Authors of Pain.
Okay.
Both of them powerful guys. The bigger of the two being Tucker Knight, who is about 6'6", 6'7". He's really the high flyer of the two.
Okay. All right.
Otis Dozovic is maybe a couple inches taller than me and has about 150 pounds on me. He's a bicep with legs. He's the most powerful thing I think I've ever seen.
So where do you think they would end up?
They
do you think
could
SmackDown or Raw?
pretty much end up anywhere, because they're both entertaining and incredibly hard-hitting. All their offense, while being very entertainment-styled offense, it's like, that'd mess you up.
I kind of feel like because SmackDown has entertaining tag teams, even though it's getting kind of stale and old, you can recycle it a little bit more. With Raw, it feels like the tag teams, they need something. Like we have the talent, but we need something to mix it up. And if they have that, I'd rather them go on Raw.
Yeah. So, I mean, so in that way, maybe EC3 would be really good on SmackDown, because he's got personality for days.
Less Tanner.
I mean, he is a rich mahogany.
Yeah, like unnecessary.
No, it's really wild. And then Lars Sullivan being the powerhouse freak, in quotes, that he is, I think he'll be good on either.
Yeah.
Truly. So it's I think of the individuals that we have, any of them could really do well.
So they said that they're coming up. Do you think they're going to come up next week, or you think they're going to come up in 2019?
Really hard to say. Really hard to say.
I feel like they shouldn't blow the wad yet. They should keep
save
teasing
it for New Year.
Or maybe not put everybody on in one shot.
Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble would probably be the best way to give them the
right
all
push.
of their here.
Yeah, but we'll see. So clearly, or not clearly, you said that you will not be watching next week because you're going to be eating and hugging sheep.
Yep.
And somebody did ask in the chat if we are having a show next week. No, we are not, because the studio's closed, so we can't have it next week. But if you check any of our individual Twitter handles, Evan T. Mac, Johnny should be back from the cruise, maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
Or mine, I might be watching it depending. You could check all our stuff and, ask us our opinion, all that good stuff. But also, where can they find you?
Well, I have a small announcement to make. If you're a fan of the NXT podcast, we are currently going to be moving out of the AfterBuzz studios. We've enjoyed our time here for me personally, almost 5 years.
Wow.
And this show on Wednesday is going to be our last show at the AfterBuzz studios. We will be continuing the show, however, and we're rebranding it as the Wrestling Professionals Podcast. All three of us being individuals who work in the professional wrestling business at different points, but we're wrestling professionals all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you can follow us on Twitter at The Wrestling Pros and on Discord and Twitch at Wrestling Professionals.
Ooh.
There you can catch all of the new things that we have that we're working on. We're working on a lot of different content, expanding content, but still bringing you the same news and opinions that you've counted on for all these years. And we want to thank AfterBuzz especially for this. And we'll see you on Wednesday. Please tune in.
You're staying for Raw, though, right?
Depends on if they're getting better or not, right? Follow me on Twitter at Baines Destroy. Baines Destroy.
Well, that's it for us for 2018, I think. Yeah, that's it for us for 2018.
Yes.
The next time some of us, or all of us, or some faction of us, you'll see us in Raw in 2019. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Catch me on VH1. Catch me on Hip Hop DX, too. If you're interested in Kanye and Drake, the beef, how it all started, I spent a ridiculous amount of time recording that. So if you check out Hip Hop DX, you can find out how that all went. Are you interested?
Yeah, I'm way in. Yeezy for life.
All right, guys. We'll see you in 2019. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterbuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.